of stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Class of 22, you may be seated. Good morning. My name is Terry Lynch, and I'm the Vice Chancellor for Student Life at NCSSM. I would like to welcome you all on behalf of the graduating class of 2022. There are a number of dignitaries here today for NCSSM's 41st commencement, whom I would like to briefly introduce. Please hold your applause until all have been recognized. NCSSM Chancellor Todd Roberts. Commencement Speaker Laura Gerald, class of 1986. Vice Chair, NCSSM Board of Trustees Stephanie Bass, class of 1991. Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Chief Academic Officer for the UNC System Office, Kim Van Noort. Vice Chancellor for Academic Programs, Katie O'Connor. Dean of Science, Amy Scheck. Board of Trustees members, Ray Spann, Robert Freeman. Division Administrators, Robert Allen, Barb Corey, Jamie Lathan. Departmental Deans, Taylor Gibson, Joe Labulio, Elizabeth Moose, Lori Noonan. Program Directors, Robin Bolts, Jamie Butler-Chidozi, Chrissy Hewitt, Sarah Shoemaker. Staff Senate President, Crystal Woods. Alumni Board President, Jane Bullock, class of 1989. Registrar, Jennifer Betts. Thank you.
Good morning again. I'm Chancellor Todd Roberts, and want to again take this opportunity to welcome all of our faculty and staff, families and friends, Ms. Stephanie Bass, members of our Board of Trustees, our Alumni Board, Parent Association, Dr. Van Noort and Dr. Gerald, and most particularly the class of 2022. I also want to welcome everyone that's watching via live stream today. Before we continue, I'd like to just take a moment to recognize all of the members of our facilities team here at NCSSM for transforming this Watts Lawn into a beautiful setting for today's ceremony. Getting out here about 5 a.m. to dry off all the chairs from the rain from yesterday. So thank you so much for all of your work. Also, all of our faculty and staff who've worked so hard to plan today's event. Preparing to make a day, today special for all of you is a monumental task, and so I really appreciate everybody's work on this. And I want to give a special shout out to Matt Berner and Angela Ticci for all they've done planning today's event. So let's give all those folks a real round of applause. And let me say that it is wonderful for the first time in 3 years to be back here on Watts Lawn for graduation. It feels so good. I'd like to take a moment to thank Dr. Gerald for being with us to speak today. For each of our graduates here this morning, Dr. Gerald's life and work is one that should inspire all of you as you're about to begin the next chapter of your lives. Hers is a story of what's possible with hard work, talent, motivation, the support of others, and a desire to help others. From her childhood in Lumberton, North Carolina, to her time as a student at NCSSM and then Harvard, to her career as a physician, state health director, and now as president of the Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust, Dr. Gerald's life and career has been one that highlights the impact of a supportive community can have on a person and the impact a person can have by supporting their community. Dr. Gerald has done this throughout her career. So Dr. Gerald, again, thank you for being with us today. I'm inspired by you and really look forward to your remarks. Graduating from high school is an important milestone and accomplishment in one's life. And all of us at NCSSM are so happy to be able to honor the class of 2022 in a way that celebrates this accomplishment for all of you who have completed this part of your journey in the most challenging of circumstances. This would not have been possible without the dedication and hard work of our faculty, staff, administrative team that have supported you along the way and worked very hard to make sure that we could be here celebrating all of you today on Watts Lawn. I also want to thank our student life team for planning activities for our senior days on Thursday and Friday. It was wonderful. It was a little wet. Wonderful to see everybody, all of you, having so much fun together. So today brings an official close to this chapter of the NCSSM experience for all of our graduates, and one that no other class over the past 41 years has had. Low density, hybrid, fully remote, surveillance testing, J-term are all a part of the lexicon of the class of 2022, which is uniquely yours. With an understanding of these things and how they've helped shape your experience, our experience over the past 2 years, it is truly an honor and a privilege for me to award you your diplomas today. And parents and families, I know that you are filled with great pride today, as well you should be. And I want to take this moment to thank you for sharing your children with us over the past 2 years and supporting them along the way for many, many more. As a parent of teenagers myself, I know just how difficult being a parent has been these past few years, so I want to applaud you and thank you for all you've done to make today possible for your child. As they now take their next steps as adults, know that they will continue to need you as much as ever, although just a little bit differently. Graduates, I know that our faculty and staff here today are thrilled to be here to honor you, and I want to thank all of them, our teachers, counselors, community coordinators, staff, and administrators who contributed in so many ways to the success of each of you. Along with the students' support of one another, it is the talents, mentorship, hard work, and support and caring that our faculty, staff, and our team at NCSSM have provided for you that helps create a living and learning community where you can all thrive. The support of love and family and the support of faculty and staff have never been more important these past 2 years, and I want to thank you all again for what you've done for all of our graduates here and celebrate you today as well. As this year has progressed, and we knew that today was going to be possible in the way that it is here on this lawn, I've probably looked forward to this day as much as anything in a while, knowing that having all of us gathered here together, celebrating each of you, symbolizes hope for the future in so many different ways. And most importantly, in the 319 ways each of you and you all together represent. All of you give me hope, and that's what I want for all of you. As you take the next steps on your journey, do so with hope and optimism. We've all struggled through the many challenges of the past 2 years in the midst of a global pandemic, faced with the senseless violence across our country and the world, fueled by hatred and ignorance, with the most horrific examples over the past 2 weeks where children were murdered in school, and mothers, fathers, grandmothers, brothers, and sisters were shot and killed while shopping for groceries. So while we are here to celebrate today, I hope we can think about those that will never get to enjoy a day like this one with resolve and actions that say no more. I know that it can be a struggle to be optimistic on any given day, and as we contemplate the future, but I would encourage each of you to try your level best to do just that, be optimistic. No, not blind optimism or that's just based on faith, but on hope that you have for yourself and want to bring to others through who you are and what you do. All of us cannot let despair or a sense of helplessness keep us from action. Change happens because people believe that it can and it must. Whether it is the really hard work of changing hearts and minds or the work necessary to change laws and policies, we must believe it can be done and do it. American historian and philosopher Howard Zinn wrote in 2004 in his essay titled "The Optimism of Uncertainty" that, and I quote, "To be hopeful in bad times is not just foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also of compassion, sacrifice, courage, and kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember those times and places, and there are so many where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending the spinning top of a world in a different direction. And if we do act, in however small a way, we don't have to wait for some grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of presents. And to live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is itself a marvelous victory." End quote. Living now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is within all of our control. It's how you frame your perspective and actions. It can be pretty easy to let the world around us and all the negativity that we face on a daily basis shape our perspective. But I would encourage you to look for the brighter side of things and people, and particularly in yourselves. Take the time to celebrate and recognize what you do and accomplish. Be compassionate and forgiving with yourself, and show yourself love. In doing this, you increase your capacity to do this for others. A phrase that's been close to my heart over the years, which helps me with perspective, is one that I want to share with you in hopes that you might keep it in the back of your mind as you go forward tomorrow and the years to come. The phrase is, "Keep your face to the sunshine and you will not see the shadow." These words are attributed to Helen Keller, which to me makes them only more inspiring. So as you continue your journey, I hope you do just that. Keep your face to the sunshine with open eyes that are not shaded with rose-colored glasses, but ones with lenses that provide clarity, with a tint toward the positive, and that help you find your path ahead. I hope that you will continue to learn and explore, seeing things for what they are and what they could be. Seek to understand and bring your passion and desire to make things better with you wherever you go. Embrace opportunity and challenge along the way, and embrace those around you. Find those people and things that bring you inspiration, purpose, and joy, and make them integral to your lives, and try to do that for others. As you look forward, I also hope that you will take a little bit of time to reflect back on your experiences as individuals and a class, and celebrate yourself and each other. Each of you have known great success and challenges to this point. The NCSSM class of 2022 is 319 strong from more than 60 different counties across North Carolina. And when you came here, most of you knew very few of your classmates at that time, and in your junior year, you only got to know some of your classmates in person and the rest virtually. Here we are today, and think of all you've done in the most unusual and challenging of circumstances over the past 2 years. The friends you've made and all you've accomplished, and how you've grown as individuals and as a community. Your class has accomplished so many amazing things over the past 2 years, and this year in particular, as you brought back so many of the wonderful NCSSM traditions that we had not been able to have over the past few years. You put on amazing music and drama productions and had 3 amazing cultural fests and multiple coffee houses. You brought back athletics, with more than 50% of you participating in interscholastic sports, with great performances on the fields, the courts, the tracks, including 2 state championships, one in women's cross country and one in men's tennis. More than 80% of this class participated in a variety of research experiences on campus and off, and you presented your research at major competitions, events, and our own research symposium. You launched a supersonic rocket, the first ever for NCSSM, and you've won numerous competitions in science, math, and the arts. And you've worked hard to make our community a better place. This is certainly not an exhaustive list of all you've achieved, but it was certainly wonderful for all of you to be able to do these things together this year. While accomplishments are often recognized with medals or certificates, it's not those things that you will take with you wherever you go. It's your experiences, and those things, big and small, you've learned and done, and how they have helped shape who you are, that you will carry with you to the many new places that you go. You have amazing opportunities ahead of you, and I'm so very proud of all of you for who you are and what you've done, and so very optimistic about the many, many things you will do in the years to come. You all are a truly amazing group of people. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Kimberly Van Noort, the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Chief Academic Officer for the UNC system, to recognize NCSSM's recipient of the Board of Governors Excellence in Teaching Award. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. And good afternoon. You all look amazing. What a day it is today. Today, I bring you greetings from the University of North Carolina system, of which North Carolina School of Science and Math is a constituent institution, and from Peter Hans, our system president, and from the UNC System Board of Governors. I would like to congratulate this year's graduates and their families, and also to recognize the dedicated service of the school's distinguished faculty, staff, Board of Trustees, and of Chancellor Roberts, particularly during the past 2 academic years when they have supported your students so capably during the extraordinary circumstances of this pandemic. An experience I'm hopeful to see us emerging from at last. It is exciting to acknowledge that this year is the North Carolina School of Science and Math's 41st commencement ceremony for the graduates of the Durham residential program, gathering students from every corner of North Carolina into this special community of learners. The UNC system also celebrates the statewide impact of NCSSM online, and we so look forward to the opening of the Morganton campus, which will enroll its first class of juniors this coming fall. Graduates, congratulations. We celebrate you, your accomplishments, and the exciting journey each of you is about to begin. Your experience during this time at this fine institution will resonate through your entire life. Your education here has provided knowledge and skills that you will need to achieve success in an increasingly complex world. Whatever and wherever your future endeavors may take you, we encourage you to stay connected with this wonderful institution and your home state of North Carolina. There are many outstanding faculty members at this institution, and today I am here to recognize one of them. It is my privilege to present this year's Board of Governors Award for Excellence in Teaching. Established by the Board of Governors in 1994 to underscore the importance of teaching and to reward great teachers across the UNC system, the awards are given annually to a faculty member from each UNC campus. Recipients are nominated by special committees on their home campuses and selected by the Board of Governors Committee on Personnel. Each winner receives a bronze medal and a cash award. This year's honoree from the School of Science and Math is Ms. Cheryl Beierschmidt-Gahn. Ms. Beierschmidt-Gahn, we celebrate your passion, your intellect, and your all-around devotion to the school and its students. As you may know, Ms. Beierschmidt-Gahn long served as one of NCSSM's instructors of mathematics. She was on the faculty here for 16 years, teaching modeling with differential equations, combinatorics, graph theory, and intro to proof, complex systems and networks, and research in math, among many others. She seeks to help students really develop an appreciation for the study of mathematics and wants her students to see that mathematics isn't arbitrary, The results we encounter are discoverable and can make sense. She sees one of the roles a teacher as creating an environment in which students feel comfortable being wrong or not knowing an answer, but also an environment that encourages those who struggle to seek answers to those questions. Her aspirations are to motivate students to embrace a spirit of lifelong learning, to model a love of learning in her own attitude, and to encourage students to question and seek answers, and to give students the tools that they need. She doesn't need her students to love math, but rather seeks to help them learn how they can use math to support doing what they love. In the classroom, she's included varieties of activities to engage students: class discussions, small group work, discovery, hands-on activities, exploration with technology. Where possible, she likes to think about ways to get students up and moving, including gallery walks, in which small groups of students work on a new problem and then new groups are formed that travel around. She has served as a model of outreach and scholarship during her time at NCSSM. She initiated the development of a website for the math department, including a department blog. She also had math instructors develop short videos to give some information about each math class, helping students, families, and those outside learn a little bit about the course offerings. She presents annually at educational conferences and was selected to attend the 14th annual conference on mathematics education in China, which unfortunately ended up being held verbally. As many of you know, Ms. Bausch-Schmidt has just completed her time at NCSSM, and she's begun a new role as the director of the lower school at the Hawbridge School in Saxapahaw, North Carolina. NCSSM will certainly miss her. Her presence on campus has truly set her apart. Colleagues here attest that she's a generous and supportive teammate, that she brings her appreciation and respect for others' perspectives to work, is a master of student-led instruction, and has worked tirelessly to ensure that incoming NCSSM students have the math preparation they need to be successful here. Ms. Bausch-Schmidt is highly deserving of this honor. We thank her for devoting her professional life to students and for the example she sets for teachers across our great state and beyond. Because she was not able to attend today due to circumstances beyond her control, her department chair, Taylor Gibson, will accept the award on her behalf. Let's all give her a round of applause. Congratulations. I'm so sorry she couldn't be here.
Greetings, students, faculty, staff, families, and friends of NCSSM. On behalf of academic programs, I bring congratulations to the class of 2022. Since we have no class rank or valedictorian, our student speaker at commencement is selected from speeches submitted by members of the class. A committee of faculty and staff reviewed all entries to determine which speech most uniquely captured the NCSSM experience. I am pleased to introduce the student speaker for the class of 2022. At NCSSM, she was involved with the Student Activities Board, Asia Fest, and led Math Tutoring, a donation-based tutoring system that has raised over $25,000 for food insecurity. Her chemistry research with Dr. Englund focused on designing dual-function inhibitors for the treatment of tumorous cancers, and the Society of Science organization named her a Regeneron Scholar, a prestigious honor in STEM. Her humanities research with Dr. Cantrell was focused on the history of Asian femininity and its ties to immigration policy. Her research was published in NCSSM's Fifth World, an interdisciplinary journal of research in the humanities. She is very thankful for her second Bryan Hall community and her community coordinator, Jen Borderud, for always being supportive. After she spends 8 weeks studying abroad in Morocco with the National Security Language Initiative for Youth program, she will be attending the University of Pennsylvania. Her grandparents, brother, and parents are joining her today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to your class of 2022 student speaker, Winnie Wang.
Thank you, Dr. O'Connor. Good morning, everyone. My name is Winnie Wang, and on behalf of the graduating class, I'd like to extend a gracious thank you to the people that have gathered to celebrate today. To the faculty and staff members, administrators, honored guests, and families, thank you for making our journey to this point possible. Thank you to the people behind this graduation ceremony who have worked for the past week to get Watts Long set up, to the faculty and staff who have made our experience here both enriching and meaningful in both virtual and physical spaces, to the administration who have worked tirelessly over the past 2 years to adapt to the constantly changing circumstances to make our time here as normal as possible, to our family and friends for believing in us, encouraging our ideas, and coming from all over the state to be here with us today, but most importantly, to my fellow graduating peers who have shaped this institution with their wit and creativity. Thank you. To be quite honest with you, graduation didn't quite hit me until yesterday night. At our last Happy Have, after 12 years of writing, "Have a good summer" in the back of people's yearbooks, someone wrote, "Have a good life" in mine. It was a little scary. However, it would feel quite amiss to begin today, or not begin today, with recognizing something that I know has been weighing heavily for a lot of you this past week. This last Tuesday, a mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, at Robb Elementary School resulted in the deaths of 19 students and 2 teachers. As students, it is haunting to reckon with the cyclical problem year after year, but today it is especially emotional. As we gather to celebrate our own graduation, it's hard to not think about how those 19 students will not be crossing the stage with their own graduating class. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the community that is struggling with this loss, but as a nation, we were all complicit. I want to encourage you all to not get complacent. Thoughts and prayers are frankly not enough. Though we may be nearing the end of a pandemic, gun violence is an epidemic and a public health crisis, and the end is not in sight. Simply to send our support while doing nothing to prevent the next tragedy is not effective when it's time when we reckon with the political economy, one that has been built on and maintained through constant racialized terror, making way for such vigilante violence that we have become so desensitized to. We need to step away from relying on these understandings of such violence as singular, when in reality, it is structural and woven into the fabric of our very society. If you have the means to, donate to verified organizations, and for everyone, I encourage you to contact your senators about H.R. 8, the Universal Background Checks Bill, and other bills that would make gun control more efficient, and urge them to bring it to a vote in the Senate. For the class of 22, our official NC-SEM journey. For the class of 22, our official NC-SEM journey began in February 2020, when we stepped foot for the first time on Discovery Day, welcomed by students with bright smiles and outreached hands, stretching towards us for a high five or a fist bump. As we crowded into the auditoriums to hear about dormitories, shout out Second Brian, and research opportunities, none of us knew that soon, the gatherings of that size would become obsolete and high fives a thing of the past. But even now, I remember how I felt, sitting in the auditorium that day, that I was yet to find out that I had been accepted to NC-SEM. I was enthralled by the buzzing energy in the air, whispering of ideas and innovation and opportunity. I had never before experienced such a profound and immediate connection with a group of people, but on that day, I found myself captivated by the sphere of NC-SEM, one that drives and cultivates a community of driven and talented scientists, writers, artists, and activists. Stepping onto campus our senior year, we sensed a deep emptiness in the air, empty shoes to fill and stories left unfinished. The class of 22 was faced with an unprecedented task, revitalizing NC-SEM and renewing a community after a year that made even making meaningful connections difficult. The next few months signified a tremendous amount of growth for all of us, and maybe even a culture shock when we first discovered the PFM ice cream machine or library study rooms. Despite our lack of a blueprint or precedent to follow, we brought back lock-ins, cultural fests, and our first and last ever semi-formal. I will forever admire my peers for their empathy throughout those months. Though our navigation through senior year and the transition back to in-person learning was not an easy one, we still found time to engage with one another and the campus community at large. We made time for spontaneous 9th Street runs to Bonds, showing school spirit at soccer games and other athletic events, and impromptu lounging on the senior benches during happy half, even while cramming for the next major test or planning club meetings. It was during those times that I could feel the true camaraderie that is omnipresent in campus culture, a fierce desire to achieve and support the achievements of others. Beyond our astounding academic achievements, there's also the personal progress that we have made here at NCSM that will continue to shape us for a lifetime. It is no secret that NCSM has challenged us not only academically, but intellectually and mentally, pushing us to achieve the best version of ourselves. As I witnessed my own peers exploring new facets of their identity, forging ahead despite obstacles, collaborating to achieve a shared vision, finding new passions, celebrating their cultural backgrounds, and actively working to better the local and state community that surrounds us, I find myself instilled with admiration and inspiration. These acts of self-awareness and compassion are commendable not only for their impact, but for the evident willingness to rise and continue to achieve despite the circumstances. It would be naive and disingenuous to celebrate our accomplishments here today without paying tribute to the circumstances that have shaped our time here at NCSM. But together, we were able to overcome the obstacles that stood in our way, most of them, fight back and against an increasingly hostile society that imposes the constant threat of oppression and inequity, and challenge the status quo that shapes our environment, even walking out together to hold NCSM accountable in a peaceful and impactful manner. Now, we graduate together, celebrating our determination, ambition, and strength in the place that has allowed us to congregate from all corners of North Carolina. We will forever be grateful for the opportunity to learn and grow alongside such resilient and aspirational leaders. And though we came here expecting to learn calculus and the various intellectual chemical interactions, we've not only gained knowledge, but learned how to communicate that knowledge. In sharing our expertise, we've discovered the value in sharing knowledge and collaboration. Our definition of leadership has been molded by these exchanges into an understanding of communicating, serving, and empathizing to empower others. As we go into the future, we will pledge to use our knowledge to serve the community, creating and bettering opportunities for those who are not as fortunate as us, and using our talents and passions to take on some of the most pressing oppositions the global community faces today. Most of all, I look forward to embarking on this new journey with all of you. In you, I see the next generation of leaders and changemakers who will continue to apply the lessons and skills learned here in transforming future fields and developing innovative solutions to new problems. We know what change must be made, and we are the pioneers who will set the world on the path to a better and brighter future. To NCSM, I thank you for the most impactful and rewarding years of my life thus far. To the class of 22, though 2 years was far too short, I know we will all cross paths again. I have nothing but the deepest love and admiration for you all, and I look forward to seeing what you accomplish and how you grow. Congratulations to NCSM class of 22. Next, I'd like to introduce Bonnie Zhang, our student body president.
Okay, first I'd like to say thank you so much, Whitney, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Bonnie Zhang, and I'm so honored to have served as your 2021-2022 Student Body President. When you look back on these 2 years, and when you come back to today, I hope everyone on this lawn, families, staff, faculty, and students, feels proud. Not for another report card you earned, not for anything that you feel like you were doing for someone else, but for something that you think impacted you as a person. A challenge that altered your perspective, something that you can take into the real world and say, I couldn't have done this anywhere else. Because this school truly puts you in that position, an area of uncertainty where you're finally struggling in a class, adjusting to life away from home, or learning to advocate for exactly what you believe. One quote from our guest speaker today, Dr. Laura Gerald, says, "One of the things I like about pediatrics is that you have to advocate for the children. And you also have to think about the whole family. It's not just about working with the individual patient." NCSM has built us into leaders in our community and has taught us the importance of supporting one another. Here, we found so much more to be proud of than another report card. An alumna of the NCSM class of 1986 and a leader in her own right, Dr. Gerald's story has inspired countless young children in her community. From medical school to returning to her hometown of Lumberton to practice pediatrics, Dr. Gerald always felt her calling was somewhere more than, quote, treating one cold at a time. Following her gut, Dr. Gerald went on to obtain her master's in public health at Harvard and pursued a career in public health and policy, holding positions with Community Care of North Carolina and Evolent Health, before becoming the North Carolina State Health Director and the Director of the Division of Public Health. Just imagine, all this while still seeing patients at her childhood clinic in Lumberton. Dr. Gerald's journey around the country and back to her hometown is an inspiration to all those who seek to make the world a better place. Her work in pediatrics only showed more clearly the existing inequities in health with each step she took from one examination room to another. Her work has not only impacted the welfare of thousands of underrepresented people, her legacy will live on to be built upon by future generations of health professionals, and maybe even future generations of NCSM students. And so now it is with immense pleasure that I introduce to you this year's commencement speaker, Dr. Laura Gerald.
Thanks so much for that introduction, Bonnie. And Chancellor Roberts, thank you so much for the invitation to speak today. Greetings to you, Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty and staff, honored guests, very proud families, and most importantly, to the class of 2022. It is a great honor and pleasure to be here to celebrate with you today at your commencement exercises, and I want to be among the first to congratulate you for just getting to this day. I know it's quite an accomplishment to graduate from the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, so congratulations, guys. I'm a bit nervous. It's not every day that one gets to give an address at their alma mater. NCSSM has meant so much to me. And it truly seems like just yesterday that I was sitting in your shoes or standing in your shoes. But it was actually 1986, 36 years ago, that I was in the 5th graduating class. I learned so much at Science and Math that proved to be invaluable to me along my journey, much more than just Science and Math. And I want to share with you today some of the lessons that I learned here that have served me well in the hopes that they will be helpful to you along your journey. I grew up in Lumberton in Robeson County. Now, for those of you who ain't from around here, that's in eastern North Carolina. It's a small rural town near the coast. I love my community, but I learned that what usually gets Robeson County recognized is bad news. It often ranks at or near the very bottom in county health rankings. It's designated as persistently poor, and that means that the poverty rate exceeded 20% for 30 or more years. Robeson County, being near the coast, is frequently in the path of storms like Hurricane Matthew. My community, like many communities, is dissected by railroad tracks. I grew up on the side without the hospital or stores or movie theaters. And although the entire community suffered from economic losses and natural disasters, my side of the railroad tracks continues to suffer from a lack of investments and devastation by those storms. So you might ask, how does a girl from the wrong side of the tracks in Lumberton go to Harvard to become a doctor and head of a foundation? Where does one get the courage to move beyond fear of the unknown and beyond an apparent determination, a world that's apparently determined to withhold opportunity from certain populations and communities? Well, one answer to how I went from Lumberton to delivering your commencement speech today is a lesson that I learned from my experience at Science and Math. Don't be afraid. Say yes. I drew courage to do that from Thin Mint's moments, which for me was just the least little bit of encouragement. As a student in Lumberton, I was encouraged by so many of my teachers, but I'll tell you the Thin Mint story. Mrs. Phelps was my 4th grade teacher, and she assigned us a health project. We were asked to create a booklet with labeled drawings of different parts of the body. Now, I cannot draw at all, so I had to be very neat and particular with the assignment. But imagine my surprise when I was actually awarded the top prize, and it was a small box of Thin Mints. Actually, I think they were peppermint patties, but the Thin Mints term has already taken hashtag Thin Mints moment. Do we say hashtag anymore? Anyway, I was a Girl Scout. I sold a lot of Thin Mints, so I think I can shout out to them. My point is that it was the first time in my educational career that I can remember feeling smart even and seen. The least little bit of encouragement helped to give me the courage to try to excel through a pursuit of education. That encouragement and determination to pursue my education helped me to say yes to the opportunity to leave the comfort of my home in Lumberton and go to the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics. And NCSSM opened up a whole new world of education for me that I couldn't get in my home school. I was a proud Lumberton High School pirate. Yes, go Pirates. But in my high school, our physics teacher was the football coach. No offense to football coaches, but the NCSSM physics teachers had PhDs in actual physics. And so I was exposed to all these different ways of learning, including non-traditional ways through what we called special projects week at the time, that I understand y'all now call J-term. But it was like the coolest thing ever, like a whole week. You guys get more time to actually pursue our academic interest. So what also gave me the courage to say yes to the unknown was seeing someone like me go before me. So I was not the first in my small neighborhood and community to go to NCSSM, and I was not the first in my family to go to college, or even to Harvard for that matter. My 2 older brothers graduated from Harvard, and I figured, Lord, if they could do it, certainly I could do it. So a lot of the seemingly brave things that I've done was really just because I simply didn't know that I couldn't. NCSSM taught me to pursue opportunities that came my way, especially those that took me in the direction of my dreams. So you should say yes as well to opportunities that come to you, though I can't tell you that it will be easy, which brings me to a second lesson that I learned here. The obstacle is the path. Persevere. As you continue along your journey, you are sure to encounter challenges and failures, or at least you will if you're doing enough. Science and math taught me that by struggling through, you will learn what you need to learn. Before NCSM, to be honest, things came pretty easily to me academically, but I struggled here, especially in math. I had to work for it. I thought I liked math in Lumberton. I went to summer school to go to take geometry so that I could go all the way through calculus as a senior, because most students at my high school stopped at Algebra 3. My grade in Algebra 1 was like 104. It was like over 100. But at math and science, I finally got to calculus, and that's when things kind of started to hit the fan. I didn't even know what it was about. You guys said differentials. I was like, what the heck is this? Every time Dr. Lutz had any kind of session, I was in there trying to figure out how to do my homework, what in the world this calculus thing was about. I thankfully completed the course somewhere in the B range, but mostly what I learned mathematically was just how to stay somewhere near the mean. That will serve you well. Just remember that in your future as you go to college. But anyway, when I got to Harvard, that's when I learned my lesson. Because from my grades, one would think that I knew algebra and not calculus. But that's not what my math placement test showed. The administrator was baffled at how I somehow knew calculus, but not basic algebra. So I ended up having to take like an intro math class with just me and the rest of the Harvard football team. So it really wasn't that bad. I met a lot of them. But anyway, I do like football, by the way. I'm a Panthers fan. My son plays football. But anyway, I placed out of Calculus 1. And apparently through all that struggle, I was learning what I needed to learn. And that lesson has always stuck with me as I encountered much greater difficulties. I enjoyed practicing pediatrics, but struggled through whether or not I was making a difference. While practicing medicine, I learned a better understanding of the broader community conditions that keep patients in poor health, regardless of what I did one-on-one with them in the clinic. So a desire for a broader impact led me to public health. I said yes to a philanthropy-sponsored opportunity that paid for another degree in public health. And during that year, I learned to look at health problems at a broader level than just the individual level. One metaphor that is used to describe this is to consider a lake filled with fish. If one or two fish wash up dead on the shore, then it makes sense to try to figure out what is wrong with the fish. But if a whole bunch of fish, or God forbid, the whole lake of fish, washes up dead on the shore, then it makes more sense to try to figure out what is wrong with the lake. So the lake represents the conditions in which the fish are living, which in the real world are systems of education, healthcare, the environment, etc. And I learned that I was treating the wrong problems. I was treating fish when I needed to be treating the lake. Addressing problems with the lake systemic problems means you have to be ready for the long haul. And at Science and Math, I learned you can't just quit the class or get discouraged every time you just barely make the mean. You have to persevere. And that served me well as I continued to pursue the best education that somebody else's money could buy, because I couldn't afford my education. But it also served me well in a career of service. So why is it important to learn to struggle through obstacles and persevere? I think it's to fulfill a charge that I have made to myself and that I also extend to you today. It's my third and final lesson. Don't forget the people or places that make you possible. Give back. The state of North Carolina invested so much in me, and I'm so grateful for my experience here at NCSSM. My community invested a lot in me. I was a fully grown adult before I realized that I was from a poor community, because my experience in Robeson County was rich with so many strengths. I benefited from relatives, teachers, neighbors, church members, friends who supported and encouraged me and created enriching experiences. My family invested a lot in me. With greater exposure, I learned that my family is not rich by non-Robeson County standards, but in fact, our family endured many of the challenges that are so common, not just in rural or impoverished areas, but that are just a part of life. But like my community, my family is rich in everything that matters. I'm descended from landowners, farmers who invented new and more efficient ways of farming. I come from a family of educators who created opportunities for Black people throughout the county to get an education when no one else would educate us. I was expected to go to college because my family history is rich in HBCU education at North Carolina Central University and Shaw University and North Carolina A&T State University. My people invested a lot in me and sacrificed a lot for me and expected me to give back as they did. They worked hard to solve problems, big and small, in their households, community, and state. Unfortunately, we still have many problems to solve. No doubt your state, communities, and families invested a lot in you, and frankly, we need for you to give back. From here, you'll be able to go anywhere and do anything. NCSSM gives you those opportunities, but there are so many big problems in the world. We have lost millions of lives in a worldwide pandemic, with many of those deaths being preventable. We're experiencing a reckoning due to both historical and current effects of racism. And today we know in America, guns are now the leading cause of death for children 1 to 19. Our schools are not even safe places. There are so many problems in the world for you to solve. But you don't need to leave here if you just want to help people. Because although North Carolina is making significant improvements in health, which is the issue that I most closely follow, we still rank in the bottom third of states in socioeconomic drivers of health, leading to worse health outcomes in key areas. Hundreds of thousands of our poorest residents still lack health insurance coverage in a pandemic. A Black baby born in North Carolina today is more than twice as likely to die in their first year of life as a white baby born today. And we rank the 8th highest in infant mortality overall. I don't even have to go outside of my own family if I want to experience health disparities and poor health outcomes, despite what we have done as individuals to try to improve our conditions. My father died at 46, not long after he had done so well on a test that he qualified to be a pipe fitter. That's a job that had been reserved primarily just for white men at the time. Both of my brothers, who had gone to Harvard before me, died before the age of 60, just as my father did decades before, and just as his father did decades before him. My sister and I are both 7-year survivors of breast cancer. I work hard to take care of myself, despite stage 4 cancer, so that I can live to see my 2 wonderful Black boys into healthy adulthoods. And I pray that they can break the cycles of generations of health outcomes that I assure you we do not deserve. And I just have to pause here because my sister's actually here with me, and I talked about my brothers, but lest you think we don't like UNC schools, my sister went to UNC Greensboro, and she's by far the most accomplished and successful one in my family, and she's been my greatest supporter and inspiration, and I'm just so glad that she's here. And my 2 boys are here as well, Micah and Nicholas. Hi. I had to bring them because I had to show them I have a real job. They're like, Mom, she used to be a doctor, but I don't know what she does now. So anyway, I do have a real job. I'm so glad that they're here with me today, and I love them so much. And despite of the challenges that I and my family have been through, I have tried to give back to my community. I practiced medicine in Lumberton, as you heard, with my childhood pediatrician, and it was so rewarding to practice in my hometown. Every single patient was a cousin until they were genetically proven not to be a cousin. I mean, it was just wonderful practicing with my family. I'm also honored to have been the first Black woman to serve as the state health director. And as president of the Kate B. Reynolds Charitable Trust, my job, yes guys, my job, is to work on solutions to improve health for those living in poverty right here in my home state. And I fight every single day for the people of North Carolina. But sadly must admit that the best efforts of those of us who are adulting now are not working. We are presiding over the creation of the first generation of young people who cannot expect to do as well or even live longer than we did. And I am so ashamed of that. And truly, for my generation, I beg your forgiveness. So I don't just challenge you to give back. The truth is, we need for you to give back, no matter what you do or where you go. We need for you to apply your unique skills and scientific methods and the use of data in determining truth to right wrongs and create a better world. And I believe that you can do this because, after all, you are unicorns. For those of you who don't know, the mascot of NCSSM is a unicorn. Mythical creature, got one horn, unicorn. But since it is a mythical creature, I believe that I can take some creative liberties with its features. And so to me, to be an NCSS unicorn is to have both roots and wings. We have roots in a place with a history, rich history of giving, collaboration, and innovating to solve problems and make life better for our residents. And I am sure that many of you come from people with a rich history and tradition of learning and sacrificing and giving back. As NCSSM graduates, though, we also have wings. And I am sure that you will have many opportunities to say yes to experiences that will take you beyond your wildest dreams. And I encourage you to fly, do all the things that feed your soul and your passion, but also stay rooted. Give back to the people and places who need you. At the root of most of our problems is an inability to see the full humanity of all human beings, regardless of race, gender, age, sexual orientation, or country of birth. We need your help to solve that problem. We apparently need mythical creatures to do that. We need unicorns. So I want you to say yes, persevere through the obstacles that are the path, and give back. And we will work together to make things better for our families, for our communities, for our state, and our nation. And if we all can do that, we will indeed make this world a better place. That is your charge, and in it, I wish you well and Godspeed. Thank you. That's my family over there.
Great job.
Guys, love it.
Dr. Gerald, thank you so much for your wonderful and passionate remarks today and for honoring the class of 2022. And for you, we have an original Joe Lyles. Did you take art when you were here?
Oh, no, I couldn't draw.
Well, fortunately, Joe can. So here's a beautiful print for, and thank you again for being our speaker.
I'll cherish it always. Thank you.
Okay. Vice Chair Bass, I present to you the class of 2022. Awarding their diplomas signifies that they have completed all requirements for graduation as set forth by the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics Board of Trustees. Will the graduating class please rise?
Chancellor Roberts, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and this school, which serves the people of North Carolina, I accept your recommendation and authorize the presentation of diplomas.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair Bass. And so seniors, you can be seated. And as we would like to appropriately and respectfully honor these extraordinary graduates as they accept their diplomas, please hold your applause and any individual display of support, however unique or exuberant, until the last diploma has been presented so that we can appropriately honor each and every one of our graduates today. Thank you.
Amina Omotayo
Abdullah Salam. Kofi AJ Jumfi. Zaid Arkan Al Abdullah. David M. Alexander. Omer Khalid Ali. Espedi Andres Estrada. Marley Rose Arnold. Agnea Aurora. Leonardo Paletti Atala. Trisha Durga Avla. William James Randall Bacharach. William Michael Banfield. Alicia Bow. Josephine Joan Barboriak. Carrington Ray Barksdale. John McElroy Barnes. Gabriella Giselle Barros. Catherine Taylor Beard. Madeline Elizabeth Beard. Sophia Rye Benjamin. Riley Haynes Bennett. Catherine Jane Bestie. Soradeep Bhattacharya. Miran Bhima. Nadia Marie Bishop. Dylan Cole Blackburn. Noelle Elise Bowling. Julia Lindsay Bolts. Bradley Scott Bowen. Natalie M. Boylston. David Severin Bradley. Megan Sophia Brianis. James William Bridges. Brianna Nicole Brown. Amy Catherine Budjakowski. Kennedy Glenn Cable. Harper Callahan. Ava Grace Carfaro. Catherine Carrillo. Juan Esteban Castillo. Meghana Chamarty. Valen Star Chapel. Satvik Chetta. Alan Lang Chen.
Congratulations, Alan.
Anthony Brian Chen. Nithin Chintapoli. Ide Rebecca Choi. Helena Simone Clark. Hannah Kloss. Olivia Rebecca Chunha Cole. Samuel Scott Copenhaver. Julian Thomas Cox. Della Jane Crawford. Levi Cruz. Liam Riley Cuppet. Robert McMurtry Sazeski. Chelsea Irene Dabrio. Cameron Lindsay Dalton. Rochelle Marie David. Whitney Renee Davis. Hannah Nicole Davis. Maria Catherine Caballes de los Reyes. Ashley Kayla Dean. Jake Dang. Hari Raghavan Derikun. Michaela Sophia DeStefano. Lynn Ronald Diaz. Luke Aaron Dickerson. Jonathan Tyler Din. Mac Diorio. Matt Diorio. Samanyu Avinash Dixit. Dalali Kwasi Caleb Dodor. Anirudh Surya Prakash Doki. Camden De Jesus Drew. Eliza Carson Duggan. Emma Grace Dunahay. Jackson Alexander Dunham. Srinidhi Eliu Paramal. Ekweme M. Eliogu.
Madison Brooke Elias. Thomas Randall Ellie. Jordan Hannah Elliott. Kendall Page Eskew. Ari Alexander Etten. Timothy Patrick Eustace. Mary Ella Evans. Mason Van Evans. Courtney Leanne Every. Caroline Elizabeth Farmer. Adam Abdul Rahman Fawcett. Bruce Elijah Fleming. Emma Joy Frost. Lillian Unswo Fu. Takumi Fujita. Emily Gamez Garcia. Carrie Gann. Juan Pablo Garcia Garcia. Jobri Garcia Jimenez. Sabrina Garcia Trejo. Donald Alton Gemmel. Abel Arasa Getacho. Prabhuda Ghosh Dastidar. Elizabeth Ann Gold. Ian Thomas Gold. Archana Goli. Guadalupe Gomez Martinez. Sydney Page Gonzalez. Karina Veronica Goping. Maya Ann Goritz. Lauren Christine Gregg. Jaden Riley Grooms. Ashish Vijay Gupta. Marcos Emmanuel Guzman. Sarah R. Harrison. Delancey May Hartman. Hayes Knight Hartpence. George Edmund Hattle. Zachary Kieran Haugen. Braden Spencer Hearn. Lucy Evelyn James Henthorne. Riley Joe Holland. Victor Regis Madeline Penn Opino. Aiden R. Howard. Anna Paula Wesa. Jack Shashen Hua. Jack David Highland. Zenith Iodele Jarrett. Chloe Elizabeth Jensen. Adriana Sofia Jimenez Willis. Javik Joshi. Tushar Joshi. Mira Powers Kane. Jacob Samuel Carty. Julia Lee Katsoulis. Heidi Fleur Kaufman. Hargis Carr. Sarah Beth Kenny. Nathaniel Scott Kersey. Davis Alexander Keese. Caitlin Chana Kim. Elisa Claire Kim. Sean Do'o Kim. Nico Kaiser. Eileen Ishi Ku. Kastub Milind Kute. Shane Martin LaRue. Francis Wasser Ladd. Vishaka Lakani. Louder? Okay, louder. Cindy Choying Lamb. Connor David Lampier. Isabella Ann Charles Luenga Larson. Timothy Spencer Laskowski. Sophia Camille Levine. Lin Fung Lei. Nathaniel Justice Leclerc. Sungha Lee. Connor Michael Lemnios. Lily B. Lentz. Duke Edward Lewis. Smythe Cameron Lewis. Benjamin Lee. AJ Ryan Licardo. Caroline Elizabeth Lilly. Andrea Lynn. Frank Lynn. Grace Mia Lynn. Yin Yao Lin. Hong Lu. Sherry Liu. Avery Enna Loeb. Angie Lizette Lopez Aguilar. Caroline Jewel Lorio. Nicolo Shai Loftig. Tony Jie Luo. Pearl Rufaro Maguma. Jason Andrew Marine. Daniela Marine Lopez. Sydney McCrae Mason. Marissa Renee Maynard. Kaylee Paige Mayo. Emma Rose McBrayer. Mason Thomas McElroy. Tristan Wayne McLaurin. Samuel Ryan McNamara. Zachary Ryan McNutt. Jonathan Garrett Mead. Emily Adele Meekins. John Michael Miller. Joseph David Miller. Megan Elise Miller. Sophia Christine Milliam. Caroline Rose Miranda. Connor Brannon Mitchell. Deepti Mohanraj. Soe M. Mortu. Mark Muchani. Sanjana Nala. Jasmine Marie Nairhood. Josiah Roy Neal. Ethelyn Akua Ofe. Destiny Ugana Okonkwo. Evelyn K. On. Valeria Ontiveros. Richard Graham Otten. Kai Michelle Page. Catherine Mary Panabianco. Marco Pasalacqua. Claire Therese Pasulka. Priya Rakesh Patel. Tasha Sarah Paul. Lyndon Wynn Pham. Gracelyn May Pierce. Lillian Marie Pitts. Luke Lyon Pollard. Anna Elizabeth Poidock. Raymond Christopher Pratty. Matthew Joseph Polisi. Michael Toller Puzio. Kendall Marie Quinn. Jackson Cecil Rayleigh. Suhani Ramchandra, Dhruv Ranganath, Vishwak Ravichandran, Cecilia Paige Reichert, Cynthia Simmons Ribostello, Ariana Sky Rivera, Christopher Rodriguez Castaneda, Jacob Andrew Rose, Anna Elizabeth Rosenberg, Rashika Roychodori, Abigail Nicole Russ, Vaishnavi Meghna Subdi, Arushi Saha, Alina Olegovna Samsonova, Vishak Sandwa, Lorenzo Navarro Santarina IV, Mireya Santiesteban, Elena Carina Santos, Sahaj C. Sapavadia, Anya Rook Hampson, Abigail Marie Shudell, Elijah Saquon Sellers, Christina May Schaefer, D.A. Vipulkumar Shah, Isha Ria Shah, Lovdi Amit Shah, Nora Sharma, Pranet Kalpesh Sharma, Swaroop Sharma, Parth Shailesh Shirolkar, Noah David Sikursky, Leah Elizabeth Simpson, Chinmay Singh, Krish Singhvi, Brianna Lachey Sisk, Carter Lee Smith III, Mariah Danae Tyndall, Jack Anthony Snyder, Tyler Rife Snyder, Jaden Yenyen So, Shashira Somashekar, Jonathan Howe Song, Joseph Darson Sowers, Brooke Isabel Spivey, Raghav Shriram, Parker Benjamin Stiles, William Christopher Stork. Owen Michael Strepa. Fletcher Philip Stewart. Lauren Olivia Sweeney. Sarah Amit Talakar. Joseph Paul Tallarico. Parth Tara. Valoria Edelweiss Sheehan Thompson. Joseph Benjamin Tomcho. Isabel Catalina Torresia. Banks Owen Totten. Gwendolyn Elise Tripp. Ian Alexander Trowan. Daniel Isaac Una. Sophie Marie Van de Klashorst. Max Settlemeyer Van Fleet. Mahesh Venkaneni. Fenton Alexander Varga. Sophie Caroline Vaughn. Tanya Hernandez Vasquez. Isaac Velez Gonzalez. Jonathan Baden Vester. Brian Villalpando. Uma Lo Valetti. Catherine Beachwin Vu. Afix T. Ho. Lucia Jiaxing Hua. Mike Li Wang. Weiying Wang. Alden Joseph Warner. Paul Milo Warner. Benjamin Butler Warren. Francine Way. Riley Foster Wild. Allie L. Williams. Edwin Graves Wilson. Kendall Tricia Wynn. Isaac Joseph Winner. Maseka Warku Kabeta. Kennedy Kramer Worrell. Shelby Anne Marie Ray. Amy Ellen Wooker. Rigela Jayant Yete. Kylie Anela Zapata. Terrence Zhang. Benjamin Yongjin Zhang. Bonnie Zhang. Isaac Ray Zhu.
I want to again thank the families and friends of our graduates, our faculty and staff, everyone for what you've done to support the class of 2022 to this point. And class of 2022, now that you all have officially joined the other 12,000 NCSSM alumni and prepare to embark on the next leg of your journey, I hope that you go forward in years to come, you'll remember the opportunity given to you by the state of North Carolina, and like those alumni ahead of you, work to make sure future North Carolinians have even greater opportunities. When people ask me what's special about NCSSM, one of the things I always mention is the campus community. It's a place where you all create. It's a place where you feel you belong, where you make others feel that they belong, and a place where you each make one another better than you might have been on your own. And for the class of 2022, you have really redefined in so many ways what community means. You made a wonderful community together, even though you were really only all together for 1 year. And you've demonstrated so well that community is not about place or time, but is about the people and what they make of it. So I am so grateful for the class of 2022. And as you move forward, I hope that you do keep your face turned toward the sun, and also bring your light to the communities in which you go. So while it's goodbye for now, I do look so forward to the next time I get to see you. So congratulations again, and go Unis. So if you would all please stand to honor our new graduates of the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, class of 2022, as they prepare to recess. And once the graduates and the platform party have left the lawn, I invite families and guests to please join us on the Bryan lawn for a reception. If you would, please leave your chairs where they are. We have an online recognition ceremony here tomorrow. And be careful on your way to Bryan lawn. It might be a little wet as you're trying to get on the lawn over there. So again, congratulations, class of 2022. Thank you all, and everybody please travel safe when you head home.